Good evening, ladies as well as gentlemen. I'm Papa Boris, and in this video I'm going to play a new game called Orbox C. This game is actually relatively new, not just new to me. Quick disclaimer, and then we're going to get right into it, okay? I was given a copy of this game for free by the developers, which have Russian names, and so I feel a very special kindred toward them. So I did get this game for free, however, I was not compensated in any other way for making this video, thus all of the opinions in it are mine and truthful. Now let's go ahead and get into the game. This is a puzzle game. There are packs of levels. At the beginning, you start with just the easy pack, and after you complete that, you get the easy 2 and the average packs, and then after you complete that, you get the speed and normal packs. So I'm guessing that after you complete the normal pack, you get these other two. I have played this for an hour or two. I'm not exactly sure how much. In this video, I'm going to play through the easy puzzles. I'm going to make one more video and play through the average puzzles, and hopefully let the game speak for itself so you can see if this is the kind of game that you would like. I will also give my commentary on the game as we go along. Now, in my opinion, well, actually, before I say my opinion about games, let's actually explain how this game works. So, in this game, fundamentally, you're controlling this, gyrating square thing, and your goal is to complete some set of criteria for the mission. At the beginning of the game, it makes you think, like, well, the goal is always to reach this button, but there can be other missions as well, as we shall see in this video. Now, the main gimmick of the game is that when you move in a direction, you don't stop. You can't just move a certain distance, you go in an infinite line until an obstacle stops you. So for example, if I travel upwards, I will die. So in this game, part of it of course is figuring out how to move so that you hit the obstacles and then are able to end your movement at the exit. Now, let's talk about reviewing puzzle games in general. In my opinion, there's 3 main criteria by which you review a puzzle game: aesthetics, mechanics, and then level design. Now in this video, I'm only going to talk about the first two, aesthetics and mechanics. The reason for that is that level design, to me personally, doesn't really matter on the easy levels, because the easy levels are just there to introduce you to the game. So when I play the easy levels, I'm not judging the quality of the puzzle design of the game. So I will talk about puzzle design in my next video when I play through the average levels. That's the point at which I feel it becomes fair to judge the designers on the quality of the puzzles they have created. However, I do want to talk about aesthetics and mechanics. As far as aesthetics go, this game is quite pleasing. It, makes good sounds. The music is nice, yet unobtrusive. I like the sound effects. Everything kind of makes the noise that you would expect, the sounds that you'd expect, the graphics that you'd expect. I think it's really well done in that regard. It's very simple. The interface is really uncluttered, very minimalist, but you can do exactly what you want to do when you think you should be able to do it. There's never been a time where I was like, there should be a way to do blah, and then I wasn't able to do blah. So I think the aesthetics, I don't need to say more about them, they're great. As far as mechanics go, I was a little bit concerned when I first opened up this game because the fundamental mechanic of moving until you can't move anymore is not particularly original. In fact, there's actually a pretty well-known competitive puzzle board game called Ricochet Robots that's pretty much entirely hinged on this one very simple idea. So I was a bit concerned that that was the whole game, because if that was the whole game, then that would not be super original, and I really couldn't see myself being all that thrilled about it. The addition of these angle bumpers did not allay my concerns. However, my concerns were allayed when I got to this level and learned that this game has quite a variety of mechanics, beginning with teleports. So the way the teleports work is that when you go into a teleport, you come out of the other one traveling in the same direction. This allows you to do, surprising things that you might not have thought were possible, and thus beat the level. Then teleporters are, of course, not the only additional mechanic. We'll see some other ones later in this video. But I'm glad that the developers did that, because if they hadn't, then I think this game would have been a little bit on the light side as far as, originality goes. So I do respect the developers for their ability to come up with a variety of mechanics to expand upon this theme of move in a direction until you hit an obstacle, because without that, I think it would have just reminded me too much of Ricochet Robots, and I'm sure Ricochet Robots wasn't even the first game that did that, and it wouldn't have quite been enough. But I feel like the addition of these, sort of novel mechanics more than justifies the originality component of the game. So So let's take a look. I think this next level might have a new mechanic. Yep, so here we have stars. Now, stars are the first mechanic that introduces a new mission type. So now we're not trying to get to the exit. We're trying to pick up all the stars. It's a little bit like Pac-Man. Now, what I really like about the stars is that sometimes you can get stuck in a situation where you're unable to pick up any of the remaining stars. I don't believe you can get stuck in this first level. It's engineered so you can just dither around until you eventually collect them all. But I think it adds a really interesting layer of challenge to the situation where it's like, okay, I gotta make sure that I get the stars not just in general, but in the correct order. So for example, in this level, if I just go up to this top row and collect all these stars, wait a minute, I'm screwed. I can only go left and right without dying, and I clearly cannot pick up all of the remaining stars. I should take this moment to note that if you are someone who does not like your puzzle games to ever leave you in a position where you're stuck, then you might have a little bit of a beef with this game. Personally, I don't think it's a problem. I really couldn't care less. I actually think it adds to the challenge in a very pleasant way. If it is possible to sometimes, get stuck in a level. But, if that is something that bothers you, you should know that in this game it is sometimes possible to get to a situation where you can make legal moves. In fact, you can make them as much as you want to, but you have reached a game state in which it is no longer possible for you to beat the level, and then you have to press the R key to reset the level. Here we have a new mechanic, the gates. So when you pass through a gate, it closes shut behind you, and that's kind of interesting because, like, when the gate is unclosed, obviously in this introductory level it doesn't matter, but when the gate is unclosed, you can stop against this obstacle or this obstacle, but after you pass through the gate, the level changes, and now it's the middle part that's blocked off, while the edges are no longer. And I think it's really good. I like that in this game there is, sort of changeable terrain. The levels, unlike in Ricochet Robots, are not static. They can change based on the moves that you make. So I like these little gate things. In general, I like anything that mixes up the mechanics a little bit. In fact, did I actually get stuck here? No. I thought for a moment I might have put myself in a position where I could no longer beat the level, but it's all good. This level is obviously, you're not gonna like plan everything out when you play this level. You're just gonna go for it and just make whatever moves you can. I'm not going to talk about that too much because I want to talk about level design in my next video. And again, for the easy levels, I didn't care. I thought, it's the easy levels, you can do whatever you want, designers, and I really don't care. But there are some genuinely interesting missions in the easy levels, which I'll point out when we get to them. Here's the new mechanic. So these things are passable at first, but after you pass through them, they become a blocked space. Now, this is very similar to a gate, if you think about it mechanically, except that with these, there's nothing on either side to begin with. It's just a blank spot that fills in after you pass over it. And so, again, you have to change the landscape, and you can imagine on a harder puzzle, think critically to make sure that you change it at not only in the right way, but at the right time, so that you can give yourself the ability to complete the level. Okay, this one doesn't really give you too many options. But again, it's just the easy level, so it's a nice introduction to the mechanics. So again, on these levels, we're not trying to get to the exit. We're simply trying to pick up all of the orbs. That's all that you have to do. Did I put myself in a position where I'm stuck? Nope. Okay, good. Thought I might have screwed myself again. Now, here is the one mechanic in the game that I hope, constructively criticize. I've liked all the mechanics so far, and I actually don't really mind these bombs either. But I will explain my beef and leave that open for the designer's consideration. So, the way the bombs work is that when you touch a bomb, it does a countdown. It's not 10 seconds, because that's clearly faster than a second. But it is, let's say 5 seconds. So 5 seconds after you run into the bomb, it goes kaboom. So the problem with this is that if you're gonna have it count down as opposed to exploding right away, there should be a reason for that. Most of the time, when you have these bombs, and yes, I did put myself in a position where I was stuck, it doesn't matter whether it counts down and then explodes, or whether it explodes instantly. The only way that it could possibly matter if the bomb explodes after a countdown or instantly is if you design the level in such a way that you are forced to tag the bomb and then make a quick series of moves that causes you to approach the bomb from another angle and hit the bomb while it is still counting down from your first contact with it, and to have that be a requirement for beating the level. Meaning that if you tag the bomb and then stop to think and the bomb explodes, at that point it becomes impossible to complete the level. You have to quickly make some moves that are carefully thought out in advance that cause you to reach the bomb from another angle. Now, the level design for these bombs can be very effective. For example, this is a very interesting level, even though it is an easy level, because you have to choose very carefully when you abandon this chain of bombs. So for example, if I go here and then I decide to move away, I am stuck and can no longer beat the level. However, if I go down to the third one and then move away, I am once again stuck and unable to beat the level. So you have to decide very carefully when it is that you abandon the bomb chain. It's after the second one that you have to move to the right, then down, then left, and then up. But again, notice that in this case, it didn't really matter whether the bombs were on a countdown or whether they exploded instantly. All that matters is that it goes away at some point after you hit the bomb. This, again, is a really interesting level, because after you hit this bomb, you have 3 different ways that you can go. You can go up, down, or to the right. If you go to the right, then now you're stuck in empty space and there's nothing you can do. If you go down, then you can go to the right. After that, you can go to the right again. And after that, you can go up, and then over, and then down. But from here, you are stuck, and there's no way to beat the level anymore. So I like this level a lot as an easy level, and I think it showcases really nice level design, even though I'll talk more about level design in the next video. Because what it does is it shows the player that you really need to think about your actions. You can't just, go some way and then figure it out from there. You actually have to do some forethought. Now, in this particular case, it's an easy level. You can beat it just by trial and error, and just, follow all the paths until you find the one that actually lets you in. But you can easily imagine that on harder levels, then, where there's more going on, you'd have to do more careful thinking in order to find the correct path, and trial and error would be cumbersome. So there's a new mission type with the bombs. The mission type is to blow up all the bombs. So at some point during your playthrough in the level, you have to touch every single bomb. And I like that a lot. It adds some more variety. It's similar to the missions where you pick up all the crystals, but not exactly the same. And this level, I actually had a genuinely tough time with. So, like, if you just try to go in and tag all the bombs, you realize, oh, I'm stuck now. I actually can't get those corner bombs. I have to go off and die. And if you try to, for example, go up the side, then you end up reaching the exact same problem. So one thing I tried to do is I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go here, tag that corner, tag the other corner, then come back and go this way. And of course, the problem you run into there is that, again, you are unable to get this middle bomb here. You can get the other one. You can get that one just fine. But now you're just playing Ring Around the Rosie. In fact, there isn't even any way for you to kill yourself anymore. So you're just totally trapped here. And it's where you have to know the R key. You have to know that the R key resets the level, because this is an example where you are not given even the sweet, sweet release of death to free you from your torment. So what you have to do on this level, and I found this very interesting, is you have to go up and all the way through to the other side first, and then you can tag all the bombs. Again, am I kind of probably a bad player that like when I first played that, it took me like a few minutes to figure it out? Maybe. Clearly I'm not the greatest at puzzle games, but I do like it. I think that was pretty nice level design, and it took me some thinking to really figure out what the heck I was supposed to do there. This puzzle also tripped me up a little bit. You have to be very precise in the order in which you tag the bombs so that you can tag them all. But I have to reiterate, the only difference between a bomb that explodes on contact and a bomb that explodes after a countdown is if you actually have to use that bomb in the intervening time while the count is ticking down. Otherwise, for aesthetic reasons, you might as well just have the bomb blow up right away. Now we have a new mechanic, the sensor. The sensor is really interesting, and at first I didn't like it. At first I was like, I don't really like this that much. But then as I played with it more, it actually became one of my favorite mechanics. So the sensor is an alternate mission type. It doesn't, like, if the mission isn't to tag all 4 sides of the sensor, then the sensor doesn't mean anything. It's just like a regular block that lights up, right? So the sensor only matters if that is the mission, which is to light it from all 4 sides. But what I like about this is that obviously in this easy level that was not the case, but in harder levels, you sometimes have to think about the order in which you do things, because you can put yourself in a position where you are no longer able to light one of the sides. For example, in this case, if I were to go up and then over and tag everything, suddenly I actually can't win anymore. Anywhere I go, I am going to die. So you have to go to the left first, tag the bottom, then tag everything else. And I like that a lot. At first, when I saw the sensors, my initial impression was like, oh, this is like busy work. Oh, there's 2 sensors. Now I have to tag like all 8 sides. But it was really interesting how the levels could be designed so that you had to think quite a lot and be really creative to tag all the sides of the sensors. Even on this easy level, for example. If I go to the left and just casually turn on these sensors, I'm screwed. If I go up to where this bomb is, either I go around this ring forever or I, go die. So you realize that although it's natural to just come here to the left and tag these sensors, doing that traps you. You first have to break through this bomb, then tag the underbelly, and then you can come back into the place where you started and finish tagging the sensors. So here's ice. Ice is like a bomb, only more aesthetically pleasing, and it blows up on contact instead of after a countdown. Now, like I said, there is a mechanical difference between ice and bombs, but the problem is that in the easy levels, there is never a situation, even once, in which the difference between bombs and ice is mechanically meaningful. So I think that if the developers are going to have both ice and bombs, there should be at least one instance in the easy levels when you have to use the bomb again while it's counting down before it blows up. Otherwise, it might as well just all be ice. And I'll have more to say about that in my next video, in which I look at the average levels. But notice how that was so much more aesthetically pleasing. When I tagged the ice, they blew up immediately. They made a pleasant sound, a pleasant graphic. I just, in general, wish that all the ice were bombs. Alright, this is actually a pretty tricky level. It took me a little time to figure out, because if you're not careful how you go about this, you can easily get stuck. And now, I can, for example, still get these ice blocks, but that one down there is a derelict. So you have to very carefully tag all the ice in the correct order, or else you end up stuck. In fact, I think I might actually be stuck again. Yeah. This one always trips me up. So even on the easy levels, there are some pretty damn interesting puzzles. You have to get all the bottom ones first, then you can go across the top and win. Alright, and this level, again, is pretty tricky because once you come out of the middle, you can see that the edge is pretty symmetrical, so you end up getting stuck if you don't tag as much of the ice as possible while you're in the middle. Even now, it's still possible to get stuck if you're not careful. I have to get all those, and then I have to go down to the other lane to get all the ice at the bottom. Alright, and that completes the easy pack. So in the next video, which I believe is the only video I will do for this game, I'm going to play through the average levels, and there I'm going to talk a little bit more about the level design. So again, that's just me personally. I judge puzzle games on 3 metrics: aesthetics, mechanics, and level design. So aesthetics is how pleasing the game is to the look and touch. Mechanics is like, did the developers come up with creative tools for creating puzzles? And then the level design is, how well did the designers use those tools to create puzzles that are interesting and challenging to solve and satisfying? So in this video, I was mostly concerned with the aesthetics and mechanics because I don't think it's fair to judge easy/introductory levels on the quality of their level design. So as far as the aesthetics and mechanics go, I mean, obviously it's a subjective thing and you can disagree with me, but hopefully the game spoke for itself, and my personal opinion is that the aesthetics are quite pleasing and that the mechanics are good. I was concerned initially when it was like, oh, it's just make it to the exit and you can't stop when you choose a direction to move in, you stop only when you hit an obstacle. It's Ricochet Robots in Space as a computer game. But with the introduction of other mechanics such as portals and the ice/bombs and the sensors and the little Pac-Man dots and the gates and the sensors that turn into a block after you pass over it, you can imagine that it's possible to combine these mechanics and create interesting puzzles. So, were the developers able to do that in the harder levels that they created? That's what we'll explore in the next video. Thanks for watching. Please like and or subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.